Hi, my name is Jim, and today I'm gonna show you how to create dynamic particle system like this, and this. So, first of all, to create a dynamic particle system like this, you can actually go to check the Unreal 2019 GDC talk. There's a Niagara system talk that show specifically how to create a particle system like this. So I'm not gonna redo every step of creating this system, but I'm gonna show you about a few problems I met when I was recreating the particles. So I'm gonna briefly show you how this works. So at the beginning, we create a cylinder location to uh, like spawn the particles in such a ring, and then we can remove the cap and set the radius. Is pretty much the same as the Niagara talk on GDC. And then we set a sample texture in the particle update. We will sample a render target to get this kind of texture. And a render target is basically a camera that is capturing the scene. So I'm set the camera move left and right, so we can actually get a dynamic moving 2D texture. And this one is actually a 2D texture, so it's very amazing that we can use a 2D texture but show the 3D shape. That is because in this 2D texture we are actually capturing the depths of the scene. So if I go to the uh, let's stop the simulation. So this is the camera, and the camera is actually capturing the view of the scene into this render target. So we have to actually set the scene depth in alpha channel. That's how we get the depth of the scene into a 2D texture, so we can have this different heights of a shape in this particle system. And then we can see that these particles are having different colors because we are sampling the colors of the texture. So when we are sampling the texture, we are also sampling the color. And here, so we have to set the scale color under the color to the sample texture sampled color. If we set to a scale color that's not under the color, so there is actually a scale color outside the normal color, so this one won't work. Okay. And sometimes if we are going to check our progress during we are building the scene, building the whole system, sometimes we will find that we can not see the particle working somehow. That's because before the adjust camera projection and recreate camera projection, these two steps, the particle system is actually very far away, offset very far away from the emitter's center. So if the camera is not capturing the emitter's center, so if I turn to the normal mode, and if somehow we rotate the camera and then the center is out of the range, and let's say the particle is offset way far down here, and if we move the camera like this, the particle will actually disappear because the center is not rendered anymore. So the particle itself is not rendered. Okay. And then when we are making the script to control the particles with blueprints, we have to actually expose the script into the library. So let's go here. So this is exactly the same script that is on the GDC talk. However, this one is the newer Unreal version, is 4.24. So it has a new checkbox that you have to check in order to use this script in your particle system. So let's see, this one is a just mesh height script. So if I check this, I can actually type in and find the script. But if I'm not checking it, I'm not getting this script. Okay. So this is an easy version. So we can capture a sample a 2D texture into a particle system, and we can actually change the 2D texture into any like 2D pictures, and then get a different shape. That's very easy. So this one here is actually sampling a 3D mesh, static mesh here. So we get a 3D shape. I'm gonna show you how to do this. So basically it's the same, that we create a circular location, and then we try to lerp the particles. However, this one is a little bit different because we are sampling from a mesh instead of a texture. So I'm going to show you how I create this sample mesh script here. So we get the static mesh. We create a variable called static mesh, and then we get the triangle coordinates, and we get the workspace position, and then these two steps are required, and then we can go directly to the end. So if we can ignore these for now, the first step we only need these two, and then connect this one to here and set a new variable name. So I set it to new position, and then go back to the system. Actually, I'm gonna use this one to show is. So we go back to the system, and in particles we will create a new variable called particles.staticMesh. So where is it? Here. So theoretically, if you create a new parameter here, and in the system it should be showing up right here. But if it is not, you can create a new one with the same name. Remember in the script to expose the library. And then we are gonna set the variable. So before we set, we have to make sure that our script is running before we setting the variable that we are using from the script, so that the system can recognize the variable. So in set variables, we set the particle's new position into particle's new position, and then we set the static mesh. So if we drag and drop it down here, it will automatically create this tab, and then we can drop our static mesh into this tab. So we get the data, and then we send the data to the script. So in update, in order to create this kind of growing effect, growing from bottom to the top, we have to set the position of the coordinates. So I'm actually getting the emitter's age. So it's basically the time that in the whole lifetime of this particle, the particle's position is lerping from the bottom to the top. We can create a new node called transform position, and then we connect this input map to the input map, and then we are actually converting the triangle's world space position into a local space position, and then we are only getting its z channel, so it's the height of the mesh, and then we lerp it from the bottom to the top. And if the particles are less than, which means it's lower than the bar, which is always like raising from the bottom to the top at the entire edge of the particle. If the location of the triangle is lower than that bar, it will be rendered to the screen. Otherwise, it will only be rendered to the center of the emitter, which is the position. So if we pause here, so as you can see, there is a bar continually raising up. Under the bars, the particles will stay at the center of the emitter, and then as the bar going up, more and more particles start to being rendered to the screen. And then when the bar goes way higher, and then all the particles under the bar, all the triangles under the bar will be rendered to the screen. So in order to get this dynamic growing effect, this kind of 3D projecting effects, we have to set the update to, we have to update the position of the particles in particle update. So right here is basically the same as the 2D texture one. As we can see, we are also updating the particles position in particle updates. So we do the same here. However, we set the new position, which is our target value, at particle spawn, because we want to sample the mesh at the beginning, and this will not change during the game. So we are not dynamically changing the sample value. We sample it once and then update according to the sampled value. And that's pretty much it for today's tutorial, and I hope you enjoy and have a good day.